This is not messed up again. YouTube and its nonsense. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. YouTube's playing that game where it likes to mess with my camera on the first effort. Woo, it is chilly out here. I'm telling you, man. Oof, my goodness, it is definitely chilly out here. Hopefully somebody show up soon and tell me they can hear me, so I'm not sitting out here freezing for nothing. But sitting in my car, I'm baked like a potato. So the options are sit in the car or sit out here in the cold. I can't go in the cafeteria or the bowling alley because lots of people are there trying to get their meals, and this will disturb them. So got to be considerate of them. But man, it's actually nice out, but the wind is cold and it has hit me from behind. So I'm just going to ignore the chat for a few minutes. So if you're sending me questions, I'm not going to see that because I got these sunglasses on while I try to go through a little bit of the news, looking like Roy Orbison here, or what's his name there? Oh gosh, bless him. Who's the singer? Anyway, I can't think of it right now. Anyway, Ray Charles. Anyway, let's get into it. So today is the ultimatum. President Trump has given Iran until tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's just hours roughly from now for him to read the terms. And it doesn't seem like it's likely. So Trump has basically said he's going to destroy a civilization and send Iran back to the dark ages. Can you guys hear me okay? That I need to know. If you can hear my sound okay, just give me a heads up, a thumbs up on the sound, so I'm not just keeping you in suspense, okay? Let me know if you can hear the sound okay, all right? Anybody there? Somebody let me know if you can hear the sound. Okay, you got the sound. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Just want to make sure because I got the mic around my neck here, so you know if my beard was setting it off. Anyway, so tonight, 8 p.m., that's just 8 hours away. That's a suspense. Iran must agree to terms to end this nonsense. Otherwise, Trump is going to bomb them into the Stone Age. Not the most appropriate language. I see that Tucker Carlson has criticized the president for his message. I also criticize him, but not quite in as strong of words as Tucker Carlson. It was inappropriate for a couple of reasons. The three reasons, actually. The language was inappropriate. That it occurred on Easter Sunday was even less appropriate. And the insult to Islam was unnecessary. It was gratuitous. So a lot of people upset with Trump's comments. Some people like it, but the vast majority of people upset with it. But that doesn't mean people should throw their toys out of the pram just because they're unhappy with what Trump said. But tonight, we'll see. I'll get the popcorn out at 8 p.m. We'll see what happens. But it turns out the U.S. apparently did bomb Karg Island, the main oil processing facility close to the Iranian shore, either today or overnight. I'm not sure which, based on the reporting that I saw. So that's not a good sign. But Iran is about to find out, the theocracy there, just how far back in time that country can go. And that's unfortunate for the Iranians and unfortunate for American taxpayers, because I bet you dollars and donuts we're going to have to pay to rebuild Iran after it's over. Typical, like we did in Afghanistan, wasted all our money, and we've done Iraq, wasting our money. So that's coming up. Anyway, that's what Trump's got to say. Interesting article in Deutsche Welle before I get into it. I'm going to talk about refugees quite a bit in this stream. I'm going to talk about, I've got the entire report by state for the numbers that have arrived here from this fiscal year. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I want to talk about an article in the Deutsche Welle. Interesting how they talk to leftists to get their answers. So Deutsche Welle ran a story today, long overdue, but I mean, better late than never to the party. Why have U.S.-South Africa relations soured? Because of the ANC. Now, they try to be balanced in here, but even in their effort to be balanced, they're not very balanced. They say relations have deteriorated considerably since Trump retook office in 2025. Well, that's a true statement. That's correct. I'll give them credit for that. Things have gotten demonstrably worse, but they imply that the reason is because of Trump, but it's not. The reason is because of the ANC. The ANC is the one who pretended to sign a law in January of 2025 in Davos, threatening to take people's property at the national, the provincial, and the local level, stealing their property with expropriation without compensation. It is an immoral, it is an illegal, it is an unjust, it is an unconstitutional act. It violates the International Declaration of Human Rights, which South Africa is signatory to. It violates the UN Charter. It violates all things that are normal for normal countries. Yet the Deutsche Welle fails to mention that's the reason why his relationship has deteriorated. They don't mention that Ramaphosa has repeatedly in public forums and on camera mocked President Trump. They don't go to any detail to talk about the racist ambassador who came to the United States and insulted Americans and insulted Trump and lied about America. They also don't mention how Mkhitaryan Jonas, the so-called special advisor of the U.S., did the same thing, although he wasn't in official capacity. Oh, that wind is cold. Was not in official capacity at the time, so I suppose that's okay. They also falsely claim that Trump frequently white genocide. That's untrue. Trump does not frequently claim white genocide. He frequently claims the abuse of South Africans, and he's correct in that. As far as the white genocide, that's a red herring presented by leftist media. It's their canard. It's their bogus nonsense. They're the ones bringing it up. The media asking the question. Only on at least 2 or 3 occasions do I recall Trump ever publicly stating anything about white genocide without being prompted. And that was after having been already asked by journalists in previous meetings. Daniel Silka from Cape Town correctly notes that this break or souring relations has been a long time coming, as ANC has shifted left for the past 10 years. But I'm sorry, that's a partially true statement, Daniel. This problem has been coming since the Article 98 waiver, which South Africa refused to sign in the early part of the 21st century, thereby protecting U.S. service members. They refused to sign it, and that's where this rift began. The honeymoon was brief. South Africa's second largest. The United States was historically South Africa's largest trading partner forever, throughout modern history. Only recently has China surpassed the United States around the year 2010, 2012. And since then, the U.S. is the second largest trading partner. But we didn't become the second largest trading partner. We were the largest trading partner, and now for the past 15 years have been the second largest trading partner. So let's get it straight. Then they quote a Wits history professor named Noor Neeftagden, I think that's Tigdian, Noor Neeftagden, and who insults Republicans, making these outrageous racist statements saying that the Republican Party has become more racist than ever before in recent times. Well, excuse me there, Mr. Noor. You don't know history. That's pretty odd for a historian teaching at university. Shame on you. Perhaps your students should ask for a refund for what they learned in your class. The reality of this, young man or old man, whatever the hell you are, is that the Republican Party is not a racist party. The racist party politics has long been historically and continues to be today the Democratic Party. This is the party of Andrew Jackson, who stole land from the Cherokee, Choctaw, and Seminole Indians so he and his friends could get rich on land speculation, driving them on the trail of cheers to the Oklahoma Territory. This is the party of Andrew Johnson, the racist Democrat who was president after the Civil War, after Lincoln was killed. This is the party of Woodrow Wilson, the racist president who segregated the federal civil service until the 1916 had been integrated. He, as a racist, segregated the civil workforce. In addition, he aired The Birth of a Nation, a racist, anthem, the first motion picture ever performed in the White House. And he aired that racist movie because he supported the lynchings and he supported the racism that Democrats believed in. This is the racist Democratic Party of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who imprisoned Japanese Americans who were fourth-generation American citizens because their eyes were slanted and their skin was slightly darker than that of white Anglo-Saxons. He put them in prison on the spurious claim that they were a threat to American security, which they were not, destroying their lives. This is the racist government of the Democrats who repeatedly and endlessly since the 1860s have fought against civil rights legislation introduced by Republican administrations, including the aftermath of the Civil War. This is the racist Democratic Party that defeated the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s repeatedly. It's the racist Democratic Party that, under the foul-mouthed, racist bigot Andrew Johnson, or Lyndon Baines Johnson, finally realized that maybe they needed Black Americans, and then they went after them cynically for votes, but not to help Black Americans. To call the Republican Party more racist than ever is a racist statement in and of itself, and it lacks historical reality. This gentleman from Wits University should not be teaching there if this is what he teaches people, because you're teaching propaganda and lies. The Republican Party is not a racist party. The Democratic Party clearly is a racist party. It's anti-white, it's anti-Christian, it's anti-heterosexuality, it's anti-Constitution, it's anti-American in everything that it does. And it claims to be in favor of minorities and sexual minorities, and they're not. They simply use those people who are foolish enough to believe the nonsense. He claims that U.S. tech entrepreneurs have been connecting with ultra right-wing and racist organizations in South Africa, but he doesn't name them. Name them. Don't be a coward, Nor. Tell us who you think the ultra-right and racist organizations are. I doubt that they're either ultra-right, and I'm pretty certain they're not racist. Most of the racism is coming out of the EFF and MK and ANC and people at universities in South Africa who teach there. That's where most of the racism is emanating in South Africa from. Yeah. Now, Deutsche Welle's Diane Hawker said Trump has had South Africa in his crosshairs since he came back in office. Now, that's poppycock. Now, Trump would have a right to have South Africa in his crosshairs. After all, the South African government colluded with the Biden regime to do the undiplomatic thing and rush through Ibrahim Rasool's credentials so that he could be accepted in the month that Trump became president, just days before he became president, in an effort to undermine U.S. foreign policy, in an effort to undermine the United States by putting an avowed Trump hater and a person who trades in racist narratives and race hustling into the position as ambassador. So Trump would have had a reason to be angry at South Africa, but didn't make a big deal about it. But that's the behavior of the Biden regime and of the ANC, slipping in an ambassador under the wire in unusual fashion, which isn't normally done like that. Now, Diane Hawker from the Deutsche Welle also says U.S. cut aid, citing alleged human rights violations. That's a partially accurate statement. But the reason the United States cut foreign assistance to South Africa wasn't because of the alleged human rights violations, but because South Africa's abrogation of its own constitution. Section 25 of the South African Constitution requires that expropriation be done at the national level and it be done with adequate and reasonable compensation. South Africa passed an unconstitutional piece of legislation, and it was announced at Davos by Cyril Ramaphosa. Only after that happened did the United States end foreign assistance. We will not give money to people who abandon the rule of law, and that's what Trump did. Now, God bless, it's getting colder. They said that that Trump wants to punish South Africa for its unwavering independent foreign policy. But see, that's poppycock too, Mr. Norton Galief, or whatever the guy's name is, Noor. Punish South Africa for its unwavering independent foreign policy. It doesn't have an unwavering independent foreign policy. It has hypocrisy. South Africa has not stood up for the Tigrayans. South Africa has not stood up for the Central Africans or for the Nigerians or the Malians or the Burkinabe. It has not stood up for the Rohingya. It didn't join the ICJ case that the Gambia brought in 2019 to take the government of Myanmar to the court for genocide. Now, it only did that when Israel, after it went to Tehran to see their paymasters and get their directions from there. Independent foreign policy? No, South Africa does exactly what South Africa wants, provided it's what Beijing and Havana and Moscow and Tehran want them to do. Utter nonsense. South Africa is violating international norms. We recently saw that Human Rights Commission of the United Nations has found South Africa guilty of flagrant, violent human rights violations of the Boer accused. We've seen the South African government allow combat aircraft to be shipped to a UN-sanctioned warlord in eastern Libya. We've seen South Africa send Syrians to become mercenaries and kill Ukrainians in that conflict, and the list goes on and on and on. No, South Africa doesn't have an unwavering independent foreign policy. South Africa has a foreign policy that's focused on Lutuli House and Lutuli House only, not the interests of South Africans. So I beg to differ with you, young man or old man, whatever you are, but your facts are wrong. And if you're a historian, well, then I think that whoever hires historians at WITS needs to be taken to the woodshed for hiring people who are so dishonest or this uninformed about history. You take your pick. All right, that's going to do it for that news that I want to talk about. Let me take the sunglasses off now so I can read text, and I can also read your comments. So welcome back to the program, folks. What do we got here? 200 plus people currently. Man, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I can take this cold wind blowing up my backside much longer. It's going right up my hoodie. Whew, man, that is really, really cold. So can you still hear me now? Hopefully the beard isn't rubbing against it. But man, that is brutally cold. It is nice out here, but that wind lowers the temperature by a good 20 degrees. And it just keeps coming around. A beautiful sunny day, though. It's really crazy. All right. Is the news stream or are we a refugee questions? No, it's a news stream. And that's what this always is. But why has the word of the Arab become racist? Every idiot and his brother likes to call everyone a woke mind. Yeah, well, you're right about that. Okay, so please hold your refugee questions. I'm going to talk about refugees now. I made a video late last night about the situation. The report finally came out yesterday evening. This comes out on the 5th of the month, every month from the U.S. government, unless the 5th is on a public holiday or a federal holiday, or it's a weekend. Well, it was a weekend this time, so it came out on the 6th. But it didn't come out until later in the evening, folks, later in the evening. All right, so this is what I'm going to talk about now for the duration here. This is news. So this fiscal year, there have been 4,499 refugees arrived in the United States. 3 of them from Afghanistan who went to Colorado in October. The rest, 4,496, are from South Africa, which is true to what President Trump said. Now that 4,496, you add the 300 and so that came, we're over 4,800, nearly 4,850 South Africans who've arrived here since the program began, rapidly approaching a figure of 5,000 South Africans. For all the people who say that nobody's coming over, that nobody is being processed, that you've all been forgotten, that's poppycock. It may seem that way to you, but the facts do not comport with the reality. It's also like the myth of the October-November forgotten group. There is no forgotten group. They just haven't processed you. And some of you have not been fully forthcoming and honest telling me what's going on with your cases. I've discovered some road bumps for a few people, and some of them told me that after the fact, but they denied it initially. And then later on, after we hear from them a month later, well, yeah, but this, well, that's probably why your case is taking longer. If your daughter has a medical condition that doesn't allow her to fly, they're not going to fly, leave your daughter behind in South Africa. Start being honest. All right. You're looking for the link for applications. Well, are you new to this? This has only been going on for a year. It's been on the U.S. Embassy website forever. The link there that's currently there has been there since the 4th of November. You go to za.usembassy.gov and they go click on the link for Refugee program, which is below the top, and you will be taken to a page. You click on the link. Be sure that you're on a PC or a laptop, not on a mobile, not on a tablet. This can take 6 or 8 hours to complete this form. You can save your progress, but do not do it on the phone because you'll make mistakes and you'll screw it up. All right. So that's important to understand. 2 months before first contact is pretty darn good. I know people that put in a PRM email in February last year. Now the wind has stopped for now. They put in the statement of interest in May, and then they did an intake questionnaire in November, and they've yet to be contacted. So if you got contact 2 months, count yourself lucky. All right. So of the 4,496 South Africans who've come here since October 1st, so bear in mind that nobody came. Oh, there's the wind again. Nobody came here from September 26th until November 19th. You have to take those numbers out. Then nobody came here from December 19th to January 5th. You have to take those dates out. Then nobody came here from February 23rd to March 9th. When you take out those 8 or 9 weeks, you realize that it has not been much time at all. And in that short period of time, nearly 4,500 South Africans have come to the States, in addition to the 300 plus 340 who came in last fiscal year. All right, so the big states, I'm going to go through them alphabetically that have large numbers. California with 316 refugees thus far this year. Now that's down. In February, it's 145. In March, it dropped to 72. But 316 makes it the second largest or third largest. Florida, it continues at a good pace. I had 102 refugees come in March, 331. That's the second largest number. So California, Florida. Next on the list, we have Iowa with 169, little old Iowa. 33 came in March. That's down slightly from February of 35. But remember, 9 days in March, they weren't flying. And of course, February, there were days they weren't flying either. So then we have Michigan with 185. A big drop off, February 67, but it dropped to just 42 in March. And the next big state is North Carolina with 61 in February, 61 in March for 167 total. Ohio jumps into the stats. They weren't even in the top 10 last month. Now they're definitely there with 148 refugees. Their total went from 40 in February to 63 in March. South Carolina, 152 refugees thus far, but they're a drop off from February of 51 to just 32 in March. So that's South Carolina. Next comes the big one. Things are bigger in Texas. They sure are. 543 South Africans have relocated, resettled in Texas this fiscal year. That's 152 in March, up from 140 in February. But 3 months in a row, the only state that has 3 months consecutive of 100 refugees would be South Africa. 144 in January, would be Texas, 144 in January, 140 in February, 152 in March. Texas has been steady with the numbers coming in. A few more months and Texas go over 1,000. Virginia, 135. Their numbers were down significantly, 47 in February, but just 19 in March. And Wisconsin staying steady with 42 in February, 49 in March for 148 refugees from South Africa who've come over to Wisconsin. Oh my goodness, it's like being in a wind tunnel out here. Yeah, they could start their own town in Texas. So there you go. That's I'm not doing much news today. Gosh, bless it. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to moan about the cold, but sitting in an Arctic wind, you'll know what I'm talking about. It is really cutting through me here. I go to my car, but it is way too warm in the car. I suppose we could try the car here in a few minutes. Praying for Dallas. Why do you want to go to Dallas? Dallas sucks. I don't know why people want Dallas. Texas is not my cup of tea. I was just in Dallas. It's massive. There's too much traffic. It's expensive. I don't know what the appeal of Dallas is. I don't know why people get excited about that. Anyway, yeah. So it's fascinating how people have an appeal for a place they've never been before. So I mean, I've never actually been in Australia. I've just been in the airport Sydney. So I have no idea where I'd want to live in Australia if I lived there. We have sent refugees to many states, but not all of the 50. Hawaii is out of the mix because of the cost. They'll never send them there. What do I think of Kroom? What the hell is Kroom? A beer? I know a beer named Kroom, Krombach. So applied 22 March, went for fingerprints this morning. That's fast. It's hard to believe. I forgot what point was China. I don't know. What did they do with the UN? What did they do? C.R. Ewing's fault. Yeah, people in love with a show that was pure poppycock back in the 1980s. Who Shot JR? Was so obvious who it was. Netherlands going back to the end of June. Do you think it's a wise idea? Well, I don't think you have do you have an option, Natasha Kruger? If you have an option to stay in Netherlands, it's always a good idea. But I mean, what do you mean? Do I think it's a wise idea? You're not giving me enough context there. I don't know where you live. The men are looking for Debbie. I got that. Snowing in Vermont. There you go. Who's in Vermont? Oh, Connie's pencils. Yeah, Connie. Love to go to Idaho. Meridian to be exact. Okay. Well, guys, so that's the numbers. And, you have to understand that the U.S. government is gotten rid of a lot of people, and this process is different. It's in-country refugee status, which is a rarity. We don't do it very often, and most people haven't experienced doing it, have long since retired and along with the State Department, Human Services, Homeland Security. So there's a learning curve here, and it's not a good one, obviously. They're not learning quickly or fastly enough, so that's reality. But a lot of people are coming over, and we'll see what happens to the numbers. Now I think a lot of people start panicking about the so-called cap. Exactly. People wait longer on Sapson on this. Friends of New Hampshire started snowing there again today. Yep. Not a surprise at all. Well, in the spring, sometimes that's why I didn't put my raspberries in the ground yet, because tonight it's supposed to be below freezing. So hopefully it's the last frost. That's too cold. Victoria, final interviews. It did not specify if the whole family is. As far as I know, the whole family has to go. That would be news to me that you don't have to take the whole family there. Whoever that was, I can't read that. Your name is Van Rensburg 6. I can't read that. Yeah. Irina knows someone whose case done everything under review. Yeah, you're under review. There's probably a problem with their case they're looking into. Forgotten ones. You said that of someone who had first contact July 25 only went over now. First contact June 25, and we're still waiting. Yeah, okay. Thank you for sharing, but what's your point? I also know people who were part of the 100 that went up for the proof of concept. My friend was in the proof of concept, flew to Pretoria last year, was interviewed, background checks, everything, left Pretoria, never heard from anybody again until late February this year. A year later, he did the PRM email, he did the statement of interest, he did the intake questionnaire. No one contacted him, no phone calls, no emails. He has a legitimate case. I know him personally, and he should already have been over here, but he only got contact late February. He's done his interviews because they'd already done the investigations over that period of time. He quickly got an approval letter. He has an approval letter, but he has no date when he's departing. Guys, you keep trying to, I appreciate people sharing your issues, but, it doesn't change things. Yeah, a lot of people are going to start stressing about the cap, and I don't know what to tell you other than I wouldn't stress about it, but then I don't need refugee status, so that's easy for me to say, isn't it? And Debbie Fox has given a 350 Rand super sticker, as she tends to do. Thank you, Debbie. Texas would be perfect in terms of my profession. What do you mean your profession? Every profession works in America. Unless you're in IT, there's no special, or if you're working oil services, but there's no special need for that. You've got Alaska, you've got Oklahoma, you've got North Dakota. I mean, the oil industry is all over the country. So I'm not sure what your profession is that you need to be in Texas. One is owned by a grumpy old man. Don't recommend. What are you talking about, Neil? The cap has never been broken in history. That's bullshit. Bullshit. Who are you? You don't know what you're talking about. We took in 168,000 Afghans in 3 weeks in this country. There were no Afghans in any cap to come over here, just a few thousand. We took in 300,000 Ukrainians in a 3-year period. That's about 100,000 Ukrainians per year. They were not in that. They don't give me that cap has never been broken. The cap is habitually broken. It's not a cap. It's a goal. That's why this cap is missing. So where are you getting your information from? Trevor, you know what you're talking about, Trevor Charles. Tennessee. How many Tennessee? Let's see. I can tell you that. I can answer those questions pretty easily because I've got all the data in front of me here. So Tennessee. South Dakota. Tennessee has 52. 5 in December, 4 in January, 20 in February, 23 in March. Tennessee's a good destination. Is that Cindy? Okay. Love Idaho. Yeah, Idaho's nice. Patiently waiting. Going back for another interview. Okay. Hopefully they'll get back to the people that had tickets. Chris, I hope so. I'm getting tired of all the questions and comments and people who profess to be experts in this that claim that they know what's going on. I just rather all those people just be done and over here so we stop hearing it because I'm really tired of hearing it. Sylvian says you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. Alaska only has a few up there. What's your thoughts on opening a business? Is there a state that's better to give it a go? Well, you want to go to a state that has better, easier tax laws. I mean, Delaware's easy to open a business up, but nobody lives there. So a lot of corporations are headquartered there, but they don't actually operate out of Delaware. South Dakota doesn't have a lot of people. A lot of people register business there, but whatever your business is, go where the demand is. Don't go based on the laws. Go where the demand is and make it happen. Okay. They told us about the cap and people are stressing for nothing. Well, I hope I'm right, Rock Matrix. I mean, they could stick to it, but I mean, but if they do, there's nothing you can do. We have friends that went to Home Affairs today and they were so angry because they did not get any help from these useless government entities. Unfortunately, you have to pay people a lot of money. Oh, you have to bribe them, meaning. Google must be lying. Well, Google does lie. Google, it has information that comes in. Okay, so Trevor, tell me how we took in all those Afghans. Tell me how we took in all those Ukrainians in that period. There has never been a cap above 125,000 per year, yet we've taken in more than 125,000. Now, what they do is, so maybe Google is correct in a way, because what they do is they categorize people under temporary protected status, but they're granted refugee, they're given refugee rights. They've abused this. There are 602,000 Venezuelans in this country under TPS, and there's 1.2 million people currently in this country under TPS. Yeah, I am brave in the cold. Family's been in private security for the past 8 years in control room. Would I be able to get a job that side that is close to the job as a refugee? Well, it isn't a question of being a refugee. So you guys got to get that out of your head. You need to get that out of your head. It doesn't matter if you're a refugee. That doesn't matter. You're a foreign national with authority to work in America. That's what matters. And I say foreign national because it means you can't get a security clearance. You can't work in a government position or a contractor that requires security clearance. But can you work in security? Yeah, of course. It doesn't matter whether you're a refugee. I don't know what, there's this perception about refugees, like you're supposed to be wards of the state. You're supposed to have collars around your neck, lead you around on a leash, and make you do this and make you do that. No, go get a freaking job. Pay taxes. Yep. Just to say people must be patient. Okay, hey, Rena, patient. What is the cap per year? Is it still 4,500? No, that's not very cap. It never was. Where did you get that from? You didn't get it from me, because if you got it from me, you didn't listen to what I said. If you got it from Reuters, you got propaganda that was put out there intentionally. The 4,500 figure comes from a story that Reuters ran, claiming that the embassy was building a temporary village of shelters that had the capacity to process 4,500 refugees per month at one site in Pretoria. That's all true, but they allowed readers to believe that meant it was going to be 4,500 per month coming over, which of course immediately led to the question of the cap. If it's 4,500 per month, in 2 months, you would exhaust the cap completely. And that's not even counting the people already over here. So as I said in my video, if it's true, and it was true that they built a village, it gives them the capacity to process 4,500 per month. The structures. But that doesn't mean they have the agents on the ground. That doesn't mean they have the people on the ground to do what they need to do to process everyone. It just means they have the ability to do that. It gave the impression, and it may be a valid impression, that at some point they intend to ramp up the program and take a lot more people in. That's what it gave. But people are not making that distinction. There is no 4,500 per month, and no 4,500 per month aren't being processed. The capacity is now there with the buildings, but not with the staff. Statement of interest, PRM, email, nothing. So there you go. See, there's somebody right there who's got nothing. Just be happy to go where they'll say that, and then they'll piss and moan. I can guarantee your friend's case is now moving fast because of the fact that he did the intake questionnaire. People that did the intake questionnaire move way faster. Well, I can guarantee you, Loretta, that people who didn't do the intake questionnaire are not going anywhere. I've said this since November 4th, and people need to listen to me very carefully now for the millionth time. It doesn't matter if you did a PRM email. It doesn't matter if you did a statement of interest. They're not following those anymore. They still have the data, but they're not processing those. The embassy itself said on its website, and it's still up there, you must do the intake questionnaire if you've not been contacted. So for all those people that have been contacted, if you haven't done the intake questionnaire, you're not going anywhere. You're not even being considered right now. You need to go do the intake questionnaire. I've been said this till I'm blue in the face. Even though I have rosacea and my face is red and pink, I've said it till I'm blue in the face. Go do the intake questionnaire. If you haven't done it, you've squandered November, December, January, February, March. You squandered 5 months. And that message is not getting through to people. And that's probably because of the shadow banning. People don't find my videos. As I forgot when I can say I'm not a criminal. Well, Mr. Sergeant Duck, being a criminal isn't the only reason to hold up a case. Yes, you may have said something in the interview that doesn't ring true that has to be investigated further. You may have a medical issue that comes up. You may simply one of 10,000 that they're dealing with. There's lots of reasons for it. Don't have to be a criminal. We don't run to be an ambassador, but thank you for that. I did throw my hat in the ring, but I didn't contribute millions of dollars to the Trump campaign. I'm not known to the Trump White House, and therefore they never took my application seriously. So there you go. You would love to go to South Dakota, Rapid City. Well, that's a nice spot there. My point of view on the cap. Cap, what's that? I'm with you on that one. Why do you want to go to Connecticut? Oof. You're welcome. Hey, Dylan, what's going on? You look gangster with that hoodie. Well, they might arrest me. You never know. What are your thoughts on opening a business? I already answered that question. Why are you asking the same question again? Open a business wherever you want to open a business. Open a business where it's going to be successful, where there's demand for it. You're not going to open a surf shop in South Dakota. You're not going to open a ski lodge in Florida. You're going to open a business where it's going to be successful. If you're in electricity, if you're in plumbing, if you're in carpentry, you can build that anywhere in the country. What about Arizona? Arizona is hotter than hell, Kathy. I've lived in Arizona. I like it. I like Sierra Vista, but it's become very big now. Tucson, I'm not a big fan of, but it's a nice place to visit. Phoenix, I can't stand. I detest it. It's a big, massive city. Scottsdale's nice. People really stress about the cap. Well, then they need to. Okay, let me ask you a question here. What exactly will stressing do for you? Will it make the cap disappear? Will freak you out over not hearing from anybody? Will that make people answer your call? No, it won't. It's not going to change anything. So people can stress all they want, but all it does is make them look bad. Louisiana. I don't know if there's any Louisiana. I don't think there's anybody gone to Louisiana. Nope, not in Louisiana. So nobody is allowed to go visit Professor G. He lives in Louisiana. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, RVC. You must continue your life and go about your business as normal. Let's stop navel gazing and obsessing about this. The more time you spend worrying about the process you have zero control over, the more unhappy you'll be. And the more you're likely to become one of those people that begins attacking me and lying about me in a chat and find yourself get roasted on a Friday night. Oklahoma City's okay. Not my cup of tea. Okay. 45 hasn't happened yet. U.S. would need to employ manpower. Exactly right. That's what I'm getting at, Lorraine. Excellent job. Thank you very much. I don't hear much about folk going to the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, we have Pacific Northwest. Let's take a look. Oh, Oregon has been a disaster. Portland, Oregon has been a disaster. Those refugee agencies up there have been absolutely horrendous. They're scumbags. They treated people so poorly. A lot of people have out-migrated. Oregon got 87 so far. And I think probably about 25 of them have already out-migrated. That's just a guess on my part. Oregon, Montana, I think somebody wanted to know about too. I don't know if anybody's gone to Montana directly. Let me see. Yeah, Montana has 20. So, and then what was the other one you want to know about? Oregon, Montana, Washington State. Washington State has plenty of them coming up there. Where's Washington? I got this out of order now. Washington has 97. We got 50 in March. So yeah. Oof, gosh, yeah. Oof. Man, oh man, oh man. Do you have to be a citizen or permanent resident before you work for Fire 911? I don't know the answer on that one. I can't answer it because it's not a national service. Every service is different. when working for 911, that's a dispatcher or a caller. I don't know that you have to have a clearance to do that or have to be a citizen. And being a first responder, I don't know that requires citizenship. We have doctors that come over here that do heart surgery and brain surgery, and they just have visas to work here and green cards. So I would imagine it's probably not an issue. But to be a law enforcement official enforcing the law, you have to be a citizen normally. And there are exceptions to that too. Patience pays off. Very true. Well, thank you. Yes, it is true. You're very welcome. Okay, the market with regards to people in America is 18 times bigger than South Africa, so even small business successful. Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, Voidy, you need to understand this. Everybody said it. 95% of all businesses fail within the first year. 95%. That's just the norm. That entrepreneurs oftentimes they have more failures than they have successes. They just keep at it. They keep trying to find the right niche and the right product and the right service, the right location, the right window of time. 95% of all businesses fail within the first 12 months. That's just the nature of a business, private sector. Ingrid's interview. Yeah, she seemed like a really nice, positive person. Yep. Wine tasting is a work prospect. Well, you're going to want to go to California. That's where most of the wineries are. God bless it. Oh, Connecticut. Oh, man. Oh, I'm sorry to bellyache. I'm like people complaining about the cap. I'm complaining about the cold, but it's every time the wind goes up my back. Connecticut has 65. And some are out migrating. I spoke to one yesterday who's out migrating to Pennsylvania because they have a job. New Hampshire? Not a lot in New Hampshire. Let me take a look and see. New Hampshire. New Hampshire is going to be a page before this. New Hampshire just has 41. So not a whole lot. Yeah. But not every state is taking refugees. And Hawaii will not take them. Alaska has taken a few. Okay. Actually, the cold weather, the hip isn't affected by the cold weather. The problem is the cartilage is missing and there's arthritis in there that jams up the joint. So when I walk, it locks up sometimes and it's very painful. Like that. You hear me walking sometimes. Oh. But no, the hip is okay today. So I'm not in any pain. Patiently waiting, wanting to know we have legit case, nothing bad in the background. Our term will come. All right. Well, that's a very positive attitude. Has the refugee program impact South Africa farming in a meaningful way? I can't find info on it. Well, Sir Glenn, that's a very good question. I don't have an answer on it. I can tell you that I'm aware anecdotally of several farms that are abandoned. So I can tell you that, but I don't, no one has data on this. And if the data would be collected most likely by the South African government or by AfriForm. AfriForm has not collected any such data in my knowledge so far. 14 months, completed everything, medicals expired in March. They'll make you do the medicals again. Unfortunately, you're probably going to have to go take a trip, unfortunately. Yeah, but the appearance in March, statement of interest, September, received email from Americana, filled in, November got first call, done with all steps. Now we're waiting. Okay, cool. El Marie, hi, Chris. I sent you a WhatsApp about sooner is threatening. Okay, thank you. I'll look at that, El Marie. Sure, Ingrid is our chat famous expat pen on YouTube. I'm not sure. We appreciate yourself, Professor G. tremendously. Thank you for all your hard works and drive. You guys light and dark tunnel. Well, thank you very much for that. Okay, refugees chat room link. Okay. Can you refugee get your GED? Anybody can get a GED as long as you're in America. You have to be in America to do your GED, general equivalency degree. You only need a GED if you're not a high school graduate. If you're a high school graduate, you won't need that. Okay. I see weekly companies retrench out of the company I'm working for. People are resigning monthly. I don't think they'll be able to retrench. Things are getting bad. I'm grateful for this program. Well, all right. Well, thank you for sharing that. When are you coming for a beach holiday in West Palm Beach? I'm not a Florida person, but I will be coming to Florida. We finished everything December. Wife got approval, case and review. Okay. Most of the group left already. Okay. Only if you haven't been contacted. Okay. Here's about security work. You're going to say must start looking at CPP or PSP certification. Yep. There you go. That's good advice. Medical's in progress for 4 months. Many calls get a hold of someone at medical center. 2 days later, status updated completed. Well, that's probably somebody sitting on their ass. That's unfortunate. Followed your instructions, you said, done everything, but now under review since November. Medical expired today, but I will keep hoping. All right, Purple Heart. Yeah, they'll make you do the medicals again. You have to have it within 6 months. So the IQ must reflect the complete before you're in the program. Yeah, Yeah, that's the thing. I've actually saw someone post a comment that they made a mistake months ago. They thought they did it and they never hit the submit button properly. As I said from the beginning, don't do it on mobile phone. Don't do it on a tablet. Do it on a PC or a laptop. And make sure that when you finish the whole process, you get a screen capture of that screen, because you're not getting a complete email. Okay, that way you've got it. You know you did it. Anything before is right. If you did the statement of interest in PRM email and or both, and you never didn't take questionnaire, you'll never be called. The people that's been waiting since July last year, early last year, states also need to do the questionnaire. If they've never been contacted, yes, Rehab Bunny. If you've never been contacted, you haven't been interviewed, you haven't done any screening, you must do the intake questionnaire. The embassy website is perfectly clear about this and has been since November 4th. And I've told people since November 4th. Whoops, I got disconnected there. Okay. Farming in Iran. Good luck with that. What are you saying doesn't match what RSCCA sent an email about being under review? They responded saying that there's an issue with USCIS process and they're waiting for them. I have no idea what you're talking about. What am I saying? I'm saying doesn't match. So what you're telling me is that you believe an email from RSC, an organization that most of you all have been bitching and complaining about for a year, and some people have been saying is racist, a small number of people. Is that what you're saying? So you're taking that over what I'm telling you. Okay, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen the email, so I really can't respond to it. I'm a little puzzled that you would take the word of RSC over my analysis. How often has RSC been right in this year? How often have they been right? Oh yeah, the Pacific Northwest is beautiful. Unfortunately, leftists live there. It's surf shop in South Dakota. Yep. Can we complain? Do we have the right to complain? We should be grateful. Yeah, you do have the right to complain, but best not to embarrass yourself. Okay. Chris, what are the results for Alaska? Not many. Alaska just has a handful, unless something big happened that I missed here. Alaska, 4. Yeah, they went in December. I think must have been a special case for that. They don't normally put you in Alaska, and they definitely don't put you in Hawaii. They normally keep you in the lower 48. Computer problem sorted is no, it's not. In fact, it's even more complicated today, and can't get any work done, which means we're gonna have to rush like hell tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday to get this stuff done, be ready for next week. The problem, sir, is a lot of us are still here with under no review cases, leaving. We don't mind a denial, but the limbo is destroying lives. Mr. Sergeant Duck, I do not disagree with you. I am the first person to point this out long before any of you started suffering your lives being destroyed. I pointed this out from the get-go, that when they canceled tickets in October, that's why I jumped in. You know, all these people attack me and all this nonsense about, about my program and about me. It's such crap. I mean, who else? Give me a name of somebody that the day that we found out the flights were canceled, which was in September, I already told people that we're going to have a problem here. We don't know how long this shutdown is going to be. We have people in a 2-week period from September 26th to October 13th who had plane tickets, who had already gotten rid of their cars, had already gotten rid of their leases, gotten rid of their homes, gotten rid of all their things, and now they have nowhere to live, and many of them have no money or very little money. What are they supposed to do? Who else reached out and did it? Did any of your organizations in South Africa reach out? Did AfriForum? Did they help you? Did anyone else help those people? No. Did the U.S. government help those people? No. Who helped those people? I did. Some of whom we found accommodation for, and many of whom we've been feeding through food socks. No one else did that. No one else. I identified this problem. So if you want empathy, Mr. Sergeant Duck, you've got it. I've had empathy and I've taken action. I don't just sit around and do nothing. I took action here. But there's nothing I can do to fix this. Obviously, the people complaining have never been in the government or worked with the government. You don't understand how messed up governments are. I like Miami and San Diego, but I can't understand Mexican. Well, there's no such thing as Mexican. Do you mean Spanish? Work for belief that there are many private hospitals there. There's private hospitals all over the country. And there's good ones too. Need your park. Well, you'll need it here in Pennsylvania today. Good Lord. I think our mods are in overdrive. We need to get out of this place. Our minds. Okay. Yeah, I agree. When we return to South Africa at an unspecified, unknown, undisclosed time and date. I do not discuss my arrivals in South Africa because I've had death threats and I've been targeted. And there's no reason to just make it easy for these people. If you like aircraft, Tucson is the best. No, Tucson's not the best if you like aircraft. Wichita, Kansas is great for aircraft. Florida is great for aircraft. Seattle's great for aircraft. Yeah. Become one of those kids that want to join the party and you say, chewing my pencil. That's good. I watched the Netflix Oklahoma bombing. So sad. The only thing one can control is how you handle the weight. You know, that's very true. That's very true. In Kent, near Seattle. Okay. Well, I love the Pacific Northwest. I hate the political from Tacoma to frickin' Seattle is a nightmare. That's horrible. It was horrible 30 years ago. Hey, Renell, what's going on? Alaska is 10,000 better than ANC ruled South Africa. Lots of South African Seattle area. Well, that doesn't surprise me. There are lots of blue-haired leftists from South Africa relocated there. Okay, meaning there is nothing wrong with people's cases. No background security issue. It's directly an issue with U.S. processing, where I'm waiting for USCIS feedback. Well, Anonymous, I never said that's not the case. You are listening to my short in which I responded to a couple of cases in particular, and you are inferring something that was not stated or implied. You're twisting what I said. You're twisting what I said. So, again, if you want to believe Church World Service and Regional Support Center, you're welcome to believe it. You're welcome to believe it. What about Michigan? The numbers? Michigan's high. I read Michigan. It was one of the top 10. Man, God bless it. Michigan is 185. Yep, 185. But that's going to decline. They're just putting less people up there now. You're very welcome, Cornet. Do you think there's going to be real improvements from resettlement agencies to improve? I think there will definitely be some improvements because a lot of them are losing their contracts. Some of these contracts, these no-compete contracts, are being taken away. So, Deutsche Boer Mikey. There's so many going to Texas, and I'm rooting to go there as I have a support structure there. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, it's 550. The 43 that have gone now, plus the ones that went from the 300 previously. I forget the number there. It's over 600 people have gone to Texas so far. List of people never reacted to. Huh? We'll be out migrating this coming week from Vermont to Tennessee. I hope you have a job there, and that's why you're going there, because there's nothing wrong with Vermont. Okay. Same as you. How weird. We're going for a final interview next week. Oh, you're talking to Boydie, not me. Okay. Must you be a citizen before you can adopt kids in the U.S.? I don't know the answer to that question. That's an odd question. That is an odd question. I would think that you probably have to be, because we have to protect children. And why would we give a foreign national, guardianship over someone that's an American citizen? Buffalo. Ooh, yeah. Snowflakes. Yep. Small business South Africa have a 99% chance to fail if you're a minority. Yeah. So is 7,500 a hard cap? I mean, we've already discussed this several times in the stream. First off, 7,500 doesn't relate to you. 7,500 was a goal that the Trump administration set for this fiscal year. We're now 7 months through the fiscal year. It's over halfway through. And we've already about 4,496 under that cap from South Africa. The rest of the world was 500. So 7,000 for South Africa, 500 for the rest of the world. Is it a hard cap? No, it's not a hard cap. Will they exceed it? I don't know. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. We'll have to find out when we get there. This problem with our cases